Well, we've been talking about interests and hobbies, and I'd like to discuss with you one or two more general questions related to this. So let's think about hobbies now and hobbies in the future. What are the most popular types of hobby in Korea now? What do most people like to do?
Many Koreans like to reading and talk about others. Yeah. And some person like to go to the movies.
Why do people like to do that kind of thing, reading and going to the movies?
I think Korean people like the public, gathering together, not alone. So they enjoy together. They enjoy go together movies and talk about talking about it.
What kind of things do you think people will enjoy doing in the future?
What kind of people?
What kind of hobbies will be popular in the future?
For the young people, Korean people like to more outside sports, like snowboard and mountain biking. Maybe it is more popular.
Do you think it's a good way to make friends and meet people, having a hobby?
I'm sorry, I can't.
Sometimes people like doing their hobbies a lot and they spend a lot of time on their hobbies. Do you think that's a good thing or a bad thing, to spend a lot of time on a hobby?
It is a good thing. I think it is a good thing.
Why is it a good thing?
It is more. It is helpful to us to relax their life.
Are there any other good things about it?
Sorry.
Do you think maybe some people spend too much time on their hobbies?
I don't think so.
No?
Yeah.
Is it possible to spend too much time on a hobby?
It is possible. Only special person. But most of people have a job.
And is that difficult if you have a job and a very important hobby? You have a very interesting hobby. You like painting. Do you think people should have a hobby? Is it important for people to have a hobby? Or is work enough?
Yes, it is important. To enjoy their life.
Thank you very much, Suk. That's the end of the speaking test.
Yeah, thank you.
Well, we've been talking about a news story, and I'd like to discuss with you one or two more general questions related to this. So let's think about the media in general. What do you think newspapers are really for?
I think newspaper for it gives us the what something happened during our surrounding our, and give you lots of information about the area where you live, and also about international news.
Do you think that the way the news is reported is generally good in the different media, in newspapers and television and radio?
I thought newspaper is quite good for our causes. It not just mean you. It's how can I say? Reading newspaper is quite. I think is quite good hobby. Yeah.
Which reports the news better, the newspapers or television?
I thought they all all of them have a day of good benefit, but I think television be better.
Why?
Because you can see the things immediately, and you don't need to imagine what will happening. So you just see it more in fact.
What about the radio? Is that a good way of learning about the news?
Yeah, I think radio is quite good as well, because it's you're listening about it and you think about it.
You talked about a surprising story in the newspaper. How much do you think we can believe what we read in newspapers?
I thought, in my opinion, you can just believe about 70%. Yeah, because when the article they write down the things, they might put some of their opinion, something like that. So might be not very fair. So.
And do you think that's more likely with the newspaper or with television reporting?
More like in newspaper.
Yeah? Why? Why is that?
Because it's if in the television, then the in newspaper they need to think and to write down, make it perfect. But on television, most of things they are alive. Yeah, in life. So.
Let's think about journalists now. What are the most important things that a journalist has to do in his job, do you think? His or her job?
I think be a journalist, they must be very faithful on their job, and be true about the things, and they also need to find something to help the people, not just argue something. Not very important things.
Do you think that when a journalist does his or her job, that they can actually change what's happening?
Yeah, I believe that, because the journalists they've been trained about how to write down the article or something already. So so if they like, they might be found some another relevant to you want to improve the or to okay, sorry.
Thank you very much, Jean. That's the end of the speaking test.
Okay, thank you.
Well, we've been talking about interests and hobbies, and I'd like to discuss with you one or two more general questions related to this. Let's think about the social benefits of hobbies. Do you think that hobbies do have social benefits?
I think so.
So what kind of benefits?
So in my case, as I was saying, I used to go fishing. So if I go fishing, I can relax, and we will pay money to buy some fishing rod, fishing reels, sometimes lures, so lure or flies. So I think it's good for social.
Is fishing a social kind of hobby?
I hope, I hope so. And social hobby. Yeah, undoubtedly this is a difficult question, I think. Well, but I think so, honestly. And
is it possible for people to spend too much time on their hobbies, do you think?
Well, I think so. Always hobby is expensive. For example, fishing rod. If I go fishing, probably I have to spend for 6 hours, 7 hours, 8 hours, I think, or all night, all day.
Right. And why is that a problem? Why, if people do spend a lot of time?
Yes,
Like
a problem.
Why is it a problem? Why could it be a problem?
Well, I tend to think it's no problem for me, but some of them has problem, of course.
But what about for people in general? Could it be a problem?
Could be problem. Well, probably if someone has very good hobby, he wants to spend a lot of time for hobbies. So sometimes probably this person doesn't want to work, I think. Yes, also in my case.
You mentioned a lot of interests that you have, a lot of hobbies that you have. Why is it important for people to have hobbies, do you think?
I think it's not essential, but if we have hobbies, as I said, we can relax and we can enjoy. So hobby always provides us good feeling, I think, and good feeling and atmospheres, and so on.
Thinking about leisure time now, in Japan, what would you say was the typical balance of leisure time and work time?
Actually, I've never worked in Japan, so I don't know exactly, but I think almost Japanese businessman has to work very hard every day. So just for holiday, for example, on just Sunday, they can spend their time for hobby, I think.
Is it the same now as it was, say, 50 years ago, do you think?
50 years ago? Well, I think, in my opinion, 50 years ago, it's difficult. 50 years ago, all the Japanese people had more time, I think, because nowadays, now in Japan has deflation, so it's too difficult to get a job now. So we have to work very, very hard, extremely hard. So
do you think people have enough leisure time generally in Japan?
It depends on people, I think.
And what about the future?
Future?
Yes, will people have more time or less time?
Less time, I think.
Even less?
Yes, even less. Almost Japanese people like working, I think. Could be.
So is work a kind of leisure if they like it then?
Yes, but as I said, it depends on people.
Well, Thank you very much,
Thank
Betsy.
you very
That's the
much.
end of the speaking test.
Thank you very much.